So one of the things that I really like in my line of research, which is sort of bio-inspired algorithm design and um, bio-inspired robotics, is that uh, there are all these things in nature that work really well, and a lot of science is descriptive and trying to figure out sort of how they work and untangling all the different mechanisms that go into sort of making these, explaining phenomena like self-assembly or different communication modes between animals, if they use visual communication, sort of pheromone, smell communication, or sounds to communicate, right? And that's sort of understanding. Sort of bio-inspired robotics and bio-inspired engineering is then taking this understanding and making it useful for people. And there are all these things that animals are actually just like much better at than we are as people, and better than machines that we know how to build. And I think, especially sort of in the construction world and insects, they're like these tiny little animals, and the more you study them, like the more crazy it is how good they are at what they do. So, for example, termites and ants are these sort of large-scale organisms where an individual termite is not quite like we think of as an animal. It's almost more like a cell because it's very dependent on the rest of the whole colony to work well. It couldn't just go off and found its own thing. And it's sort of dependent, but it's much more mobile than a single cell of your own body, right? And it's sort of this like super weird space, and together they coordinate and make these gigantic structures where if you scaled it up, a termite mound would be like much larger than the Eiffel Tower is for a person. And they do this without blueprints. They do this really reliably. They do this in a scalable way, and that's something we just don't really know how to do. And it would be fantastic if we can just sort of figure out why this works so well, and then make much better machines that sort of work more like we see in nature.